Association of Television
Producers and Executives. Something like that. Something like that. Yeah. And I met the coolest people there. The people I met that I really liked were the people that had shows and stuff, not necessarily the executives. I mean, they're okay, but
there's some attitude.
I met a lot of fun people, and you guys were among them. And then I started watching your shows on Facebook, and I really loved them. So I thought,
really glad to hear that.
Got to get you guys on here because I got a lot of questions. But before I go any further, I have to point out, you see my eyes? These are bedroom eyes. Do you like the makeup? I really use Lux Makeup and Beauty Lounge. I went in there and I told them I was doing a sex show.
Did you specifically ask for bedroom eyes?
Well, yeah, we always play around with my makeup based on what kind of show I'm doing. So they gave me these. So
sexy
I'm enjoying them. Yeah, sexy bedroom eyes.
Yeah, works.
Thank you. Okay, so I have you guys for 45 minutes. Then we're bringing in Karen Turk, Mrs. Florida, good friend of mine, and she revealed some things to me today. She had a prior relationship with a fetishist. Am I saying that right?
Yeah,
she didn't know that when she got into the relationship, but later on it revealed itself. And she told me she was a dominatrix and a mistress at one time. Now, this is a friend of mine, so it just goes to show you. You don't learn these things until you start hanging out with guys like you.
I've said that for a long time. When people judge, you don't know if that sweet little old lady down the pew from you in church on Sunday, you don't know what she's got in the closet.
I totally agree with you.
Or what she's wearing underneath that bonnet.
Right, I never judge.
Never know.
Ever, because there's
sexuality is the universal equalizer.
You are so right. You never know
what we just pretend otherwise.
Right, you never know what someone is concealing.
Right.
Oh, look, me of all people left my phone on. Okay, so I gave you guys a big list of things I want to talk about, but the first thing I want to start off with is female orgasm. And why do I want to talk about that?
Because it's a wonderful thing to talk about, because we don't talk about it enough, because everybody should know, and it's crazy that people don't.
And people don't know, I mean, men don't know much about the clitoris, and some women are confused, and it's an elusive thing, and it's very tricky, and you guys are the experts.
It's not lost on us that it's kind of unusual that two brothers, have ended up in this field that historically has
talking about female orgasm and clitoris.
Right. Yeah. But it's always just been stunning, truly, to both of us.
Yeah.
That, I mean, we shouldn't know more than a woman about a woman's body.
No, that always drives me.
But you do.
Always drives me.
You do.
You absolutely
and how many
do.
women have no idea?
I know.
I mean, look, if a woman grows up calling it my down there, then that's a clue. That she's
okay, before we go any further, do you know the percentage how many women never have orgasms?
Not really.
Well, I can tell you.
Okay.
And it's a little sketchy because it depends on how it's defined and a whole lot of other stuff. Some studies will say about 5%. Others will say 10 to 15%.
Okay.
So it really depends on how it's defined.
Yeah, are you polling people? Is that
no? There is data.
There's people that study these things, but I think what's more fun and important to talk about is the fact that what percentage of women don't have orgasm through intercourse alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and because everybody thinks
close enough.
Right.
Everybody thinks there's the way you have sex.
Okay,
and you just do that.
That was my next question.
And if it doesn't work, most women think there's something's wrong with them.
Right.
And guys don't know any better. They just think I'm supposed to do this until it works.
Right. And there's confusion on both sides. Okay.
Yeah, and this is a big source of confusion for a lot of women as well. And this is where I often talk about how, let's say, Cosmo, Cosmopolitan magazine.
Yeah.
On the one hand, when it first came out, best thing that ever happened to female sexuality, but quickly became the worst.
Why?
Because we also have to ask how many women have orgasms but don't know it. And these are a lot of the women that complain that they don't have orgasms.
Cosmo said if you're not having these explosive multiples 4th of July, you're not your full potential.
So women are coming in expecting this big thunderclap and not really being aware of their own orgasmic styles. And theirs may be just more subtle, pulsy, and it doesn't have the big thunderclap, the big drama. So while they're waiting for that, they miss their own.
Right.
So very often when I have a woman come in and she's saying she doesn't have orgasms, that's one of my first questions. Do you read Cosmo? And if the answer is yes, throw it away.
That's it. But even it's like a diagnosis. This term anorgasmia.
Right.
And we should give a nod to our colleague from Amsterdam, Ellen Lon. She says, "Don't use that word ever."
Yeah.
It's not anorgasmic, like a woman can't have an orgasm. It's pre-orgasmic. She just hasn't yet.
Right.
Right? So every woman, unless there's something wrong or something missing, every woman should be able to, but many women haven't yet. Right?
Okay.
So it's a learning
My next
thing.
question. Is clitoral stimulation necessary for a woman to achieve orgasm?
Yes.
In all cases?
For most. Not at all, but for most.
I would say somehow it has to be involved,
No,
even through intercourse.
But see, this is where I don't. I would disagree with that.
Oh, we have a disagreement here.
And this is sort of a wiring thing, right? Men are wired to basically have orgasm with physical stimulation. There has to be some level of physical stimulation. No, we can get aroused without it. But we need physical stimulation, even if it's just the weight of a sheet or the breeze that's blowing. It's got to be something physical. Women are capable of what we call fantasy-induced or imagery-induced orgasm. You can have a truly inside-out. There are women that have orgasms just by thinking and fantasizing. Women that have orgasm having their necks kind of nibbled on, their earlobes nibbled on.
Okay, I can see that.
All right. You had a question about anal orgasms.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're orgasming from the anus, it's just that stimulation is allowing them to have orgasms. So women can have orgasms with any or no physical contact. So while most women during intercourse, especially if
there's some women that can just cross their legs,
some kind of
have an orgasm.
Oh, wow! Yeah, lucky women.
Absolutely. And they can go as long as they choose.
Right.
So I would say for most women in typical sexual situations, yes, clitoral stimulation is essential. But it's not necessary for all women.
Not 100%.
But I also I think it's important that people understand exactly what we're talking about, because that's part of the issue that most people just don't know what it is when we say the clitoris. Everybody just thinks, the little man in the boat.
Oh, yes, I want you to explain exactly what it is physiologically.
Everybody should go to Google and type in clitoral anatomy or anatomy of the clitoris. Because besides that little button that you see on all the anatomy diagrams, that's right.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Remember, in an embryo, in a fetus, it comes from the same tissue as a man's penis.
As the penis,
And it grows, it has a shaft, it's made the same way as the penis, tubes of spongy tissue that fill up with blood and get erect, except instead of getting erect and standing up and out, it gets erect and pulls up and under. And then it bends down in the back, goes a shaft. We're talking about a shaft.
All this is going on.
Splits into two legs.
Little roots.
What?
Two legs with bulbs that surround them that are part of the clitoris, and both these legs and bulbs surround the vagina and the urethra.
Oh, wow.
So even during intercourse, it's still
stimulating
the inside parts of the clitoris that are being stimulated.
Right. And in fact,
it's not the vagina. There's nothing in the vagina.
Right.
The whole G-spot thing.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
And that's basically what the G-spot is.
Okay.
Right?
It's when pushing up on the roof, so to speak, they say you use that come hither motion if you want to find the G-spot.
Right.
But it's not the roof of the vagina, it's what's above it.
It's part of the clitoris?
It's pressing on those legs, those roots of the clitoris that are extending down to the sort of top wall of the
literally surrounding.
So the penis can stimulate those roots?
Absolutely. That's why if a woman is on top during intercourse, then she's more likely to be able to find the right position and depth and speed that could provide that internal stimulation, so that a bigger percentage of women could have orgasms just from intercourse.
Just from intercourse.
And if you look at these, quote, G-spot vibrators, it's kind of a regular vibrator, but it is curved. It's a sort of an angle so that it's easier to just hit that spot and put the pressure up there.
But what I think is
okay, so where exactly is that spot? In and up?
Come hither.
Yeah.
Come hither.
The first, about that far in.
Okay.
All right. And then if you go that sort of top wall of the vagina, maybe about that far in.
But it's closer to
and
the
it's got
outside.
two bulbs that wrap around the sides.
Well, that's the clitoris.
Internally.
The internal legs of the clitoris.
You see why this is so confusing? I don't even know.
I need a whiteboard. Right? Yeah, it's pretty.
But see, this is one of those ironies that we don't love. We're explaining the clitoris to you.
I know.
Isn't that's odd?
There's something not right
like
about
I said,
You're
job
right.
title aside, I should not know more about a woman's body than she does.
Right. But see, that just shows you how uneducated people are about this, and
really
men and women,
Absolutely.
probably.
Well, look. What's Universal Sex Ed 101? How does everybody in the world start the process? Boys have a penis and girls have a vagina. And there's a message behind that boys' stuff is on the outside and girls' stuff is all like shush, shush.
Yeah.
You don't look,
it's
you
a
don't touch,
mystery.
You got no business down there. That's for your gynecologist.
Right.
And that starts.
Even women don't want to know what's down there.
Yeah. We've been saying for years, what guy on the planet couldn't pick himself out of a lineup? Right? Show a guy a picture of 6 penises, one of them his own. He's going to be like, what is this, a trick?
Yeah.
Of course that's mine. But a lot of women not only couldn't pick themselves out of a lineup, but wouldn't.
They don't want to look.
No. Mine, somebody else's, no. I don't want
well, that's really interesting because...
There's a disconnect.
Right, there is, and there shouldn't be.
No.
There really shouldn't be. Wow. Okay, interesting stuff.
This is why we have a job.
Yeah, I know. So what do you guys do? You're counselors for people
we
with...
We teach classes, college campuses. I have a private sex therapy practice. I also have a training institute. Larry's on my faculty. We train other psychotherapists. Modern Sex Therapy Institute's got to give a plug.
Okay.
My business partner is a brilliant psychologist in West Palm Beach named Rachel Needle.
Okay.
She'd be a great guest for your show also.
Oh, okay.
She does a lot of media in Palm Beach.
I'd like to meet her.
Stations like to call her a lot. She's a very well-trained psychologist. And we trained therapists and physicians and nurse practitioners to do sex therapy and sexual medicine, sexuality counseling.
Okay.
And along those lines too, I in addition to teaching at college and university and like nursing schools as well, basically with a nonprofit institute called Sage Institute for Family Development.
Okay.
Our clinical director, Dr. Jill Morris, would also actually do well on your show. She's a marriage and family therapist.
Okay.
And I do basically the education and training for both professionals and the public through that.
Well, I think you guys are very valuable to society, especially given how little we know about our own anatomy. It's almost shocking. Okay, so we talked about female orgasm. Now I would like to talk about male orgasm and the differences between the two. I guess the male, it's pretty straightforward as opposed to...
Yeah, point and shoot, right? That's how the urologists say. PMS, point and shoot.
Right.
But
from a plumbing standpoint.
I'm sorry, I don't want to hog
Yeah, there's a whole psychological standpoint, too, that goes...
But also what most guys don't realize is that, because when male orgasm, it's like everything is clenched and adrenaline is pumping and things are pointing and shooting, right? But the erection process is actually a relaxation one.
Right.
How does that work?
Well, a guy has to... good sex for anybody, men, women, good sex lives right at that sweet spot between relaxation and arousal.
Right. It's a balance.
Right? If you're too relaxed,
relaxation and arousal. Okay.
If you're too relaxed, it's like drunk sex. Passing out, nothing works, nothing's lubed, everything's soft, right?
Right.
Too aroused is anxious. So if somebody's in bed and they're freaking out about what they look like and they're all like in their head instead of in this thing, then they're too anxious, and then it's like being on speed. And erections don't work then either.
Right.
So guys have to learn how to relax.
That Goldilocks.
To get aroused.
They have to get right into
exactly. We've been saying this for years. The number one guaranteed way for a guy to lose his erection is to worry about losing his erection.
Right.
As soon as that thought pops in.
Well, how do they keep that thought from popping? Especially if they're nervous.
If it's going to happen to every guy. That's a fact.
Okay.
It's ED is not losing an erection. It's a pattern of reacting to losing an erection.
Well, let's say what we often refer to as performance anxiety, which involves kind of stepping out of themselves and watching themselves, judging from a distance.
I got to be big enough and hard enough and last long enough. Right? And oh my God, that's work.
Well, I didn't realize there was all that going on in their minds.
Guys, women usually think, globally, the stereotype is women think a guy's is horny and looking for every sexual opportunity. But most guys, there is, but behind it there's that anxiety because every, goody, we're going to have sex, comes with a, I'm on. I'm on. Everything is on the line now. I better be perfect. What's that old quote? They were a listserv were on. They were trying to figure out the source of this old golden oldie that said, sex is perfectly natural, but it's never naturally perfect.
Right. You know what? It's something that I have been saying for 30 years.
Well, people were saying that they even heard somebody was
That's where you heard the quote.
Somebody was saying they heard Bill Masters say it and quoted somebody else. So even 50 years.
I spoke to Bill Masters 30 years ago.
Maybe he heard it from you.
Probably got it from me.
Now we trace that back to its roots. Okay, a couple more questions about the male orgasm. Is oral sex as pleasurable for a man as intercourse, or more pleasurable? Do they prefer one over the? I'm asking you to speak for all men.
I want to give you an answer that, in all likelihood, is an answer to the vast majority of questions that we have about sex.
Okay.
And that is, it depends.
It depends. Okay.
Right? There are times when guys prefer that kind of stimulation, that length of time, in that moment, yes.
Okay.
But not all the time, right? Sometimes oral sex can be the complete event, and it could be great and wonderful. A lot of times it's sort of a prelude to intercourse, which I wish that's something that most people would get away from too.
Why is that?
The main event
the
idea.
main event idea, exactly.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That all roads are supposed to lead to intercourse.
Oh, yeah, I was watching one of your shows where you talked about that that doesn't necessarily have to be the goal.
Right.
You talked about kissing as being a way to be intimate.
I've always been, really a big fan of the passion, the world of eroticism.
You hear that, everybody?
Right? It's a whole world of eroticism and passion that lives in a kiss.
Right.
And
so that can be just as exciting as...
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Sometimes more so.
Yeah, look, sexual tension, no matter how good it feels, it's a tension.
Right.
So just biologically, tension needs to be released.
Okay.
Right? So very, very often people feel with
goal-oriented.
Right. Well, orgasm-oriented.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be in the end zone at the same time spiking and high-fiving, right?
All right.
Could be, people could take turns, or it could be not this time, next time. So back to the ED thing, right?
Okay.
If a guy experiences a loss of erection before orgasm, he could just go, oh, I'll just focus on my partner's pleasure for a while, and then maybe he'll jump back in the game. Or maybe he'll just, sit this one out, and my partner will have a great time, and I'll get mine tomorrow.
Okay.
Or he could go, sex grinds to a halt, jam on the brakes, everything stops, he can't make eye contact anymore, and he's grabbing his clothes and
He's leaving.
Right.
And then the couple dynamic becomes him being so ashamed and her spending the entire night trying to reassure him.
Oh, it's okay, it's okay, right? And then what's going on in his head the next time, whether it's the next week with a different woman, or
just
a
adds
month
to the
later,
pressure.
or a year later, all he's thinking is, he's talking to it, right? Don't you let me
do
down.
that again.
Right. Don't do this again. Don't let me down again.
So what's the guaranteed way to make it happen? Worry about it happening. And that's ED. At least the psychological side.
So you should just
Now,
put it out of your
there's
mind.
a medical piece to it too.
Yeah.
There's a guy who's, let's face it, a guy who's like 62 and overweight and diabetic and hypertensive, he ain't getting a lot of erections.
Right.
And that doesn't matter where his head is. He just needs more friction, more fantasy, and maybe a little medical help, like a Viagra or Cialis.
Okay.
And let me throw in on the tail end of that too, that the answer is not going to be take testosterone supplements. And that's something that most guys really need to kind of stay with. More often than not, nothing.
We're hormone crazy in this country.
Yeah.
Like the HCG and these clinics popping up and people doing all these crazy. It's just not safe. And I've had a lot of patients that their urologist put them on testosterone, and all they ended up was angry with back knee. And no change in their desire, no change in their performance. It's not this miracle fountain of youth thing that people want to make it out to be. It fixes some problems. Real low testosterone. The endocrinologists would call it hypogonadism.
Right.
You could kind of see it when some old guys start to look like old women.
Yeah.
Right? They get puffy, they lose hair, that you can see the estrogenic kind of...
Oh, and that's when they would need testosterone.
That would be helpful. Yeah.
Okay.
But when it's what they call, a normal age-related changes in androgen levels, no, testosterone supplements won't help.
Most guys are like 50, 60, and they think they want to be like 25 again, so testosterone is going to make them that. And
doesn't work.
Right. And that's really the thing. It's that obsession with youth. It's no longer okay
Boca
for us to get old.
Nobody ages. It's not okay in
We're
Boca.
not okay to get old. We're not
Los
it's
my
not
whole
okay
show's
to
about,
lose.
guys.
Hey, in our 70s, we're supposed to perform as well as we did in our 20s. That's the new expectation.
Yeah.
Right? It's just not realistic.
No, it's not.
Well, more pillows.
More pillows.
Pillows and pills. That seems to be the solution.
Who can orgasm more over the course of an evening, a woman or a man?
Oh, definitely a woman.
Yeah?
Because there's that reload period that's obligatory for men.
Okay.
That women just don't have.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Right. But there are some men, especially younger guys, and this is, I tell guys too, that this is a learned skill. Right? Yeah, there is that sort of downtime. We call that refractory period.
And how long is that?
After a guy ejaculates.
Depends.
Average, right? It depends.
A lot of depends here.
Exactly.
Of course, a young,
for concrete answers, guys.
A horny 17-year-old could have, they call this refractory period, could be 10 minutes. Right?
Or
again, friction and fantasy, like Larry said, a stiff breeze is all the friction they need. A 60-year-old guy is going to need a lot more friction and fantasy, and that refractory period could be 24 hours before he's ready to go again.
Okay.
So but
a woman, no matter the age?
Generally, no.
Wow.
But again, all things being equal, if the woman is orgasmic, if she's easily orgasmic, not all women can have multiple orgasms.
Right.
That's another one of these sort of setup type of expectations.
Okay.
But in general, yeah, women can more easily have more orgasms. But guys are capable of multiple orgasms as well. And part of a learned skill that even though a guy ejaculates, he can still keep on going, even if it means for a few minutes maintaining sort of a half erection or partial erection and regain that sort of spark, bring it back up. These are learned skills.
Well, how does someone learn something like that? If there's any guys listening, they probably want to know how.
Well, a lot of folks who are fans of Tantra and devotees of these kinds of principles, and, it does take a lot of practice. Remember when Sting used to talk about it on Howard Stern all the time, that he can go 9 hours and have an orgasm without ejaculating? I guess if you're Sting, you can spend all day having
sex. He's got that kind of time.
And, work, quite frankly.
Not ejaculating, have an orgasm without it. Is that possible for a man?
Yeah, it is, but practice.
Orgasm and ejaculation are separate, but they usually occur together with men.
See, I just learned something. Okay.
Guys can learn how to orgasm without ejaculating.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I don't want to sound cynical, but, I like sex as much as the next guy, but I don't want to work that hard at anything. That's like practice that's too low on the list of things I need on my bucket list to learn how to do
learn how to do that.
I could live without that skill.
Okay, so we talked about kissing being something that doesn't necessarily just have to be a prelude to sex. It can be a sexual experience in itself.
Yeah, and I think there's something generationally that got lost.
Yes.
When
talk about that.
Making out in the backseat of the car.
Exactly.
Kids don't make out anymore?
And there was something really exciting about stealing that time.
Sure.
That sort of alone and the kissing and that's all you're doing. Maybe touching a shoulder. For a lot of guys, that first time, that shoulder, you're not sure what it is, but you got something.
I got my hand on something.
And
hoping for side boob in the movie theater.
Right. There was something really exciting about that. And I think, because I think there was a different script. Right? We also talk about this a lot as well, that I think back then it was more of part of this process where it was how we would get to know somebody to see if we wanted to have sex.
Right.
But now that whole
it's sad, isn't it?
has been switched.
I've interviewed some young women on the show, and
it's have sex to see if I want to get to know you. And kissing at best becomes perfunctory. It's not that kind of dance,
romantic,
that erotic, passionate, romantic dance that used to be.
That's a shame.
Not that everybody's like that, but I think it's really lost on most, I think, of this generation.
Yeah, I had a young woman in here, and she told me that the way it works is you'll go out to a bar, and a guy will identify who you are, and then they'll direct message you. And then you have a hookup.
Right.
And then that's it. They don't come over and talk to you.
And
then you go and you have sex.
And
what is that?
You don't even need Tinder or Grindr or even Craigslist anymore, because now that's Instagram. They have all that kind of stuff. It's all the hookup.
Yeah, right.
So it's a hookup culture.
Yeah.
And it's
any kissing involved in these hookups, do you think?
It's made its way into our generation too, though. Isn't that weird?
What?
Right? This trend from the millennials that's made its way up to our generation is no different now.
Yeah.
It's become a hookup culture for everybody.
But to address that question about kissing being a part of that hookup, very often I'm finding it is not, because somehow girls, right, mostly millennial girls, I see the most in, and probably started a little bit before then, but somehow developed this prostitute mentality. Right?
Yeah, I saw that on one of your shows.
You can put anything in my mouth, but I'm not going to kiss you. Right?
Is it because they don't really like these guys they're hooking up with?
No. I think
but it's an intimacy thing.
Yeah, and it's another one of the questions that you threw before the show, this idea, the difference between having sex or making love.
Right.
Or screwing, right? Or whatever you
I want you to explain that too, the difference.
I think that it kind of relates to this, this attitude of...
How the connection is being made.
I'm sure anti-porn zealots would refer to it as a pornification of society, that everybody's just thinking about, this kind of thing.
So what is the difference between having sex and making love?
Again, same answer.
Same answer.
Crazy making as that is, because it's an attitude. It's a way of approaching your partner. It's a way of being other-centered, not thinking of your partner as somebody you're getting off on or in or anything creepy like that, but really sharing an erotic experience. Intimacy is, when we were growing up, intimacy was a euphemistic word for doing it. So you'd say, oh, yeah, we were intimate.
Yeah, we got
wink,
intimate.
wink, nudge, nudge. And in fact, it's easy to do it drunk and in the dark with no intimacy at all.
Right.
And then be awkward and uncomfortable because it was so obviously not intimate.
Obviously not intimate.
So, how do you define these terms? I remember a 14-year-old girl in a treatment center who was selling herself for crack. All her peers were confronting her on her behavior. Said something, one of them used the F word, and she was like, "I don't do that. I make love." I'm like, oh, I felt like, oh, you poor baby. I wanted to hug her and say, oh, come on. Really? You're 14 years old having sex with adult men for crack, but in her mind, she's making love.
Right.
Like, how tragic, real tragic.
Fortunately,
really she got clean and sober in treatment.
Well, that kind of leads me to my next question. Do you think there are any females that actually want to have sex with a guy just to have sex and not expect anything out of it?
Yes,
Well, I must be living in a bubble. I didn't think that was possible.
I often refer to that as sort of the girls gone wild idea
So
or
you
attitude
really
that
think
is
this?
caught on. There are a lot of women that are in it for theirs. It's no longer men that get in, get off, get out. Right?
Really?
There are a lot of women that are kind of adopting that as well. When it comes to self-pleasuring or masturbation, there are a lot of women that are just wanting to rub one out before they go. Just, again, almost a masculinization of female sexuality. So we're seeing women taking control.
Do men like that when women take control that way?
Sometimes. A lot of men are intimidated by that.
Okay.
I think mature or healthy or somewhat
Secure
more involved
guys.
men, secure guys, love that.
Okay, we're going to go to break right now, so hold that thought. Come back, we're going to talk about that and lots of other stuff. Okay, we'll be right back.
Dr. Candace Colella of Colella Cosmetic Dentistry in Coconut Creek provides family and cosmetic dentistry for patients of all ages and is the only dentist in South Florida offering Solea laser dentistry. No pain, no anesthesia, no shots. With over 23 years of experience, Dr. Colella does fast braces, dental implants, veneers, and more. She can even finish off your smile with Botox, fillers, and lip augmentation. Call 954-428-6923 or visit yoursensationalsmile.com.
Ivy Lee's Luxe Makeup and Beauty Lounge in downtown Boca Raton does fabulous professional makeup application. Make an appointment today and see how glamorous you can look. Call 561-409-4065 to book your appointment. Ivy Lee's Luxe Makeup and Beauty Lounge is located at 233 South Federal Highway on the first floor of the Boca Grand Building in Boca Raton. The number again is 561-409-4065. You've been listening to and watching The Becky and Boca Show. Ivy Lee's Luxe Makeup and Beauty Lounge in downtown Boca Raton does fabulous professional makeup application. Make an appointment today and see how glamorous you can look. Call 561-409-4065 to book your appointment. Ivy Lee's Luxe Makeup and Beauty Lounge is located at 233 South Federal Highway on the first floor of the Boca Grand Building in Boca Raton. The number again is 561-409-4065. And now, back to the show. Hi there, back to the second half of the Becky and Boca Show. During the break, my intern asked my sex experts an interesting question. He asked if having a lot of sex makes a woman look younger. What do you say, guys?
Guess what the answer is?
Yeah.
It depends. No, but we said, Larry said only half jokingly that too much sex will make a woman
you
look a little haggard, a little a little
Maybe tired, run down.
But no, all kidding aside, there's the list, a very impressive list of health benefits of regular sex, of regular orgasm.
Yeah,
and
especially.
remember, we're
Such
all,
as?
even people not partnered, we're all equipped. We all know how. Such as,
mitigating depression,
sure,
better sleep,
Well, we like to present it this way because we do a lot with sexual pharmacology and always rail against the idea that people Google sexual pleasure, they're just going to see a sea of worthless pills and powders and products.
Yeah, right? People do take too much.
What's better for an antidepressant? A Prozac or a Paxil or a good orgasm?
Yeah.
What's better for sleep? An Ambien or a good orgasm? What's better for pain? Roxys or Oxys or a good orgasm?
A good orgasm.
Across the board.
Stress, anxiety.
Right.
In guys, we can even add
health.
the fact that regular orgasms, particularly from their 20s on, has a tremendous impact on reducing prostate cancer.
Does it really?
And maintaining overall
Guys
prostate
who
health.
have regular ejaculations through their 20s and 30s have much, much lower prostate cancer rates in their 50s and 60s.
Wow.
So have at it, guys. It's
Yeah,
good for
you're
you.
going, what if you're past your 30s?
And as I said, we're all equipped.
It isn't
So
too late.
no one ever needs have another excuse to pressure somebody into having sex. Oh, baby, you don't want me to get
Yeah, you
cancer.
don't want me to get cancer.
So you can take care of it yourself.
That's right.
Right? That's not a reason to guilt
that's
somebody
funny.
into having sex they don't want to have with you. Somebody asked me that today.
What?
Why guys think if they express an interest and the woman says no, they're not interested, they think she must be interested and get into this like panicky chase stalker kind of thing.
Is that much different than Louis C.K. and some of these other people saying, "Oh no, you don't want to go out with me? Well, let me show you my penis."
Yeah, and these guys are they're convinced it's consensual.
Okay.
Right?
Penis pictures. I have that on my list.
Yeah, I don't.
Is that ever a good idea to send a woman a picture of your penis?
Where did guys
Only
get this
if she
idea?
asks.
I don't think it.
Okay,
Right.
Only if she asks. If not, nobody wants to see that
Guys,
unsolicited.
Stop it with the penis pictures. Women don't want to see your penis.
I know. I've
Right.
talked to some of my girlfriends about that. They're like, why would they do that?
Right. Well, I love the fact, too, that in a lot of these situations, maybe the request is, well, send me a picture of you,
Right.
Okay.
and they send a picture of their penis. So this is how I represent.
Let me see what you look
Yeah.
like.
I think that says a lot right there.
You're right.
Okay, so what about the whole sexting thing? Good or bad?
It depends.
It's a mixed bag.
I don't think it's either good or bad. It's sort of
I would
how
think
are
it could
people
be kind of
doing it?
fun, right?
Right. How are people using it? What are they doing with it? Like anything else, it does require responsibility.
Right.
You know,
And I
people
think
know
it's
what
an
they're doing and know
important-
the implications of what they're doing.
Yeah.
If nothing else, especially for younger people,
Yeah.
have to know
That's what I was
that
gonna say.
everything they put out there is a permanent record.
Right.
And lives out there on the internet forever.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. It does not go away.
But
So-
every technology, sex has led pulled that technology to the next level since the telephone.
Cave drawing.
since
Yeah, sex
cave
isn't going
drawing.
away.
As soon as somebody figured out how to take a piece of burnt wood and charcoal and draw on a cave wall, they were drawing pictures of sex.
Right.
And so now, there's this new rapidly growing area called cyber dildonics.
What is that?
Of, sex toys. Like you can be in China and I can be in the United States and we can have toys that we remotely control from around the world. You can wear something that I can squeeze and you'll feel the pressure on
That
your
I did not know.
sweater that hugs you, or sex toys where one can control the speed and the rhythm
Wow.
from across
That's right.
the planet.
Right? They have a lot
Wow.
of these
Nice, birthday
these
gift.
campsites
Right.
where there's a device that usually the woman has, but sometimes it's also men. They'll actually either insert it anally, a woman will usually insert it vaginally, and as she has people or he has people watching them, and he certainly, they're performing for these people. As they pay and send money and give tips, it sends impulses
my
through
gosh.
the device and through the toy. So it becomes very
crazy.
interactive.
That's really crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
I was
crazy.
thinking about that. I mean, how
Wow.
many years ago when I started thinking about what we can do with virtual reality,
Sure.
and plethysmography and
I
some of the
imagine
toys
women
and all
could make a
that
lot of
kind
money
stuff.
that way, huh? That's the goal. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
if anybody does
Taught
some
me
research
something
and
here.
development of virtual reality and wants to do sort of sex stuff, give me a call.
Yeah, he's got some good ideas. Okay, can a male's ejaculation be prolonged?
Orgasm can be prolonged.
Yeah, assuming your ejaculation is orgasm, which you guys just told me it's not necessarily.
Right. So I mean, we would kind of have to make a separation.
Yeah. Okay.
Ejaculation is a physical expulsion.
Okay.
That is going to be
I
a
guess that
couple
can't be
of contractions, and that's it.
Yeah.
Now,
But the
that
orgasm
can be
part-
delayed, and of course,
Right.
like for anybody, the longer it's delayed, usually the more intense.
The more
and
intense
longer
it is.
It is.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's this thing.
How is it
called-
delayed? I'm not a guy.
There's this thing called edging. This is what most
The same
guys
way you do as a
naturally.
woman.
Okay.
Yeah, women do this naturally, and most guys, when they're by themselves, do this. It's like finding the right scene or the right moment or the right fantasy to. Now I'm gonna let go.
Okay, so they wait.
edging is just
They pull
holding
back.
off, holding
Right.
off, holding off.
Bringing yourself
And
right
then-
up there, closer,
then-
closer, and then pulling back.
As a
And
sex
this gives you a
therapist,
better orgasm?
This
Yeah.
is the treatment
Okay.
for
Yeah.
guys who, come too quickly. That's the treatment.
Right.
They practice that on their own 3 times a week, like a workout.
Okay.
Just waiting, edging, we call
Sure.
it stop-start.
Right.
Stop,
but
start.
even without any type of problem or issue, it will increase the intensity of the orgasm when the person does let it go.
Sure.
If you give
okay.
it 3-4 times, pulling back like that, then when you do, it's more intense.
Okay.
And of course, the longer time between ejaculations, usually the bigger volume is built up. Now,
okay.
I want to debunk another classic old myth
All right.
of blue balls.
Thank you. I was waiting
That
for
guys-
That's not a real
opportunity.
thing?
It's not a
Nope.
Sorry, guys, all of our
No.
proud penis owners.
That's right. We're kind of
Not-
revealing the code.
Define
Oh,
our Y
yeah.
chromosome
Okay, so they can't
code,
use that
but-
blue ball excuse.
No.
No.
So they're not, nothing's
There's
going
no
to
such
happen to them if they don't.
Happen.
Right.
Yes,
You
there's
know-
all
you know-
these fears that once a guy gets aroused, he has to finish, otherwise things will start backing up.
I actually
and,
heard
you
that
know,
in
then he'll
the,
drop
that was
dead.
the locker room
Like,
rumor in
sure.
high school
Right.
amongst my girlfriends.
Well, we
can't
needed you to
got it.
believe that.
Yeah.
Of course.
Because it's like, look what you did to me. Do you want this to
No.
happen? So you have to take care of it.
No, it's out of my hands.
Right.
Because
But-
I'll drop like empty clothes. I won't be able to get the lid on the coffin at the funeral.
That's right.
Everybody will know you did it. And
Exactly. But no, every guy
That
has to
is
understand the basic principles that what goes up does come down.
Okay.
And
fluid
if any guy
is
believes,
resorbed.
Right.
It's not.
and any
Yeah.
guy who believes that once he gets an erection, no matter how raging it might be, that he has to have
Has
a
to
release,
go- has to
I
bring it to
invite
fruition.
you to, in that moment, simply think of your grandmother naked, and then tell me what happens to that erection.
There's some
Right?
nice looking grandmothers walking around
That's
Boca
right.
Raton, you
And-
know.
Oh yeah. All right, then somebody else's grandmother naked. Right? But this idea that things back up is just not
Yeah.
true.
Okay.
Because if a guy goes for any length of time, no matter what is happening, without an ejaculation, as the semen and the sperm are being produced and it's filling up that tube, if it's not being released, it dies off.
Just
reabsorbs,
reabsorbs
and you
into
just
the body.
keep,
Okay.
They're like kind of Doritos. Just
In
you will just keep
fact-
making more.
Oh, this was crazy. There's this new, I guess, birth control that we just heard about, right? Like this little Band-Aid that a guy puts over his urethra.
Awful.
So that
What?
he will ejaculate and his ejaculate will stay in his urethra. This was actually like part of the selling, they were using this as a selling idea that now he can go to the bathroom after sex for a change. Like, wow, this is crazy to us.
Yeah, it really
this
is.
is the idea that it would just
So the
stay,
sperm is supposed to go into the urethra, and that would be
well, just stay in the penis, and then he'd go
the bathroom later and get it.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
But I mean, it's ridiculous. It really is.
Right.
But I guess it proves the idea that it can stay in there, right, without any harm.
But that does, I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I mean, that's like kind of
Again, I don't wanna
holding
test
in
it
your
out.
sneeze,
Right.
or blowing your nose but not letting it come
yeah.
out.
Okay, another important question here I want to get to. What role do nipples play in sex? Breasts and nipples of women. That's very important, right?
Oh, a wonderful role.
Okay.
Sure.
What does that do?
It's a wonderful source of pleasure, stimulation.
Okay.
It releases all kinds of chemicals and
Yes.
hormones that can actually help create that intimacy and that bonding.
So it's
But,
foreplay?
It
You don't
doesn't
like the
have
word
to be
foreplay?
just foreplay,
Okay.
all throughout. But I think it's especially in that context of foreplay, men especially need to understand that you don't just go up to a woman who is not fully aroused and start pinching nipples, right? Or grabbing and squeezing. That women's bodies do operate a little bit differently. They do need to warm up a little bit more.
That's
And
why
as a
they need
woman-
foreplay as opposed to men who don't.
Well, I mean, it's not that we don't, but
Okay.
it's not as essential for function and for the pleasure. But part of that is as women become sexually aroused, actually just aroused in general, the pain sensibility changes. So something that may be painful or annoying, whether it's pinching a nipple or smacking on the butt, that should not be done when the woman is
Early on.
unaroused.
Okay.
Because at that point, it would be annoying and painful. But when the body is in a state of arousal, that could be very pleasurable.
Ah.
So it really has to be done correctly. But I think guys need to, and again, we're just talking heterosexually, at this point. Guys need to understand that they should be taken seriously. It's not just grab, pinch, squeeze, move on. Grab a little bit. That this should be a
So there's a whole bunch going on there with the nipples that needs to be addressed.
To a woman's nipples.
Okay.
I mean, it's not just bite, pinch, squeeze.
Okay.
There's a lot. I mean, it's
well, elaborate on that for all these guys listening here. What is making love to a woman's nipples?
Taking your time, first of all.
Okay.
Kissing. Right? And, doing all kinds, and just like there's so many different kinds of kisses, there's so many different ways that lips and tongue can stimulate nipples.
And fingers and bodies. We love,
and bodies,
sexuality
feet.
Educators love reminding people that the major sex organ of our body is not between our legs, it's between our ears.
Yeah, the brain.
The biggest sex organ of the body is the skin.
Right.
It's all one organ, including our genitals. It's all covered by the same skin, and that parts of our skin has a lot more nerve endings for very specific reasons. Right. Some of them, like our fingertips, that's important, and our lips and tongues,
I was watching one of your shows where you talked about all the
very dense nerve endings for
the
important
lips kissing.
reasons, right? There's very few across our back. That's not important that we can feel like our fingers and our lips, and other things for other sensual stimulation, like pleasure and arousal. Nipples are also spongy tissue that fill with blood and get hard. And lots of nerves that just love to be stimulated and provide pleasure.
Right. And that's all true for a guy as well. But most, especially heterosexual guys, don't like having their nipples stimulated. And something that's often reported along with that is that sensation is kind of intense, and it sort of makes them feel vulnerable.
Okay.
So heterosexual guys tend to not like to do that.
Okay.
Basically, gay men more likely to enjoy nipple stimulation, women more likely to enjoy nipple stimulation, but most heterosexuals don't.
Now, I have an old college buddy who was babysitting his 6-year-old granddaughter and called me up in a tizzy because she said, Grandpa, when I touch my nipples, I feel it tingling in my vagina.
Oh, my.
So we're just
wired,
it out, right? We're wired. Right. We discover, of course, Grandpa like that's going to panic and freak out. But all he had to say was, that feels really special.
True, right.
And that's what people do when they're alone. In their bedroom or in the bathroom, not at the dinner table, right? That's all.
Okay, I don't want to just that's such an important lesson, though, especially when it comes to kids. We always need to be honest. We need to be upfront, and we have to answer their questions. But when we see these things, it's never about right or wrong. It's about public versus private behavior.
I see. Okay.
Right? So we don't want to shame them, and we don't want to teach them these negative things about their bodies, but we do want them to know
that it's
this
private.
idea of privacy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But also that their body can be a source of pleasure.
Yeah.
And that's not
absolutely.
A bad thing.
We don't want to. We want to take them away from that.
Okay, we're going to break here, and my good friend Karen Turk is coming back after the break. We're going to start talking about things that might be a little more kinky, huh? Yeah. Okay, and I guess she knows a lot about that. All right, we'll be right back.
Dr. Candace Colella of Colella Cosmetic Dentistry in Coconut Creek provides family and cosmetic dentistry for patients of all ages and is the only dentist in South Florida offering Solea laser dentistry. No pain, no anesthesia, no shots. With over 23 years of experience, Dr. Colella does fast braces, dental implants, veneers, and more. She can even finish off your smile with Botox, fillers, and lip augmentation. Call 954-428-6923 or visit yoursensationalsmile.com.
Ivy Lee's Luxe Makeup and Beauty Lounge in downtown Boca Raton does fabulous professional makeup application. Make an appointment today and see how glamorous you can look. Call 561-409-4065 to book your appointment. Ivy Lee's Luxe Makeup and Beauty Lounge is located at 233 South Federal Highway on the first floor of the Boca Grand Building in Boca Raton. The number again is 561-409-4065. 409-4065. You've been listening to and watching The Becky and Boca Show. Ivy Lee's Luxe Makeup and Beauty Lounge in downtown Boca Raton does fabulous professional makeup application. Make an appointment today and see how glamorous you can look. Call 561-409-4065 to book your appointment. Ivy Lee's Luxe Makeup and Beauty Lounge is located at 233 South Federal Highway on the first floor of the Boca Grand Building in Boca Raton. The number again is 561-409-4065. And now, back to the show.
You can explain yourself. Hi there. Okay, back after the break here. Karen Turk has joined us, and she's a little upset that I said she was a mistress. I didn't say you were a mistress. I said you told me you had
a dominatrix.
Oh,
which, let me clarify. I wasn't exactly a dominatrix. I dated somebody for a while who had some interesting hobbies, and he decided to share those hobbies with me a little bit later into the relationship, but I guess we're going to talk about that. But we kind of bonded over fetishes.
The reason I invited Karen is that she and I share a common follower on social media, and his name is Bunion Lover.
Bunion Lover.
Yes. And he always wants us, whenever we're filming together, he'll chime in and wants us to take our shoes off.
He runs the Google group.
The Google group?
There's a Google group.
There's Google group, Yahoo groups. There are actually...
That's a thing.
I kind of looked into after that.
Yeah?
Do you want to see how prevalent it really was? That's a big fetish community.
Wow.
Bunions?
Yes. Not to be confused
So that's like AOL back in the day, because AOL used to be a little scandalous. Remember that?
Those chat rooms. The town forum.
But Bunion Lover, I think, is the one that runs the Google Bunion fetish group.
He's a high ranking.
Right?
Well,
now, I don't know if it's one Bunion Lover or Bunion.
But what's funny,
that's his handle.
It's very different than a foot fetishist. In fact, one guy, we were laughing about this. One guy said, "No, I'm just into bunions. It's not like I'm a foot fetishist. That's silly."
That's the same guy. That's him.
That's our guy.
That's him. That's our
guy.
And he actually likes the curvature of the foot.
He commented on a photo when you were in a group photo recently.
He did. Apparently, someone who was in one of our group photos who will remain nameless.
Actually had a bunion, and he said something about, look at that woman on the left. Look at that bunion.
Now, I'm curious, if you're taking a group photo, how do the bunions become so prominent?
Well, I mean, it was a standing up full-length photo, and the girls want their shoes in the photo.
She was wearing fabulous shoes. This woman was wearing sandals.
Okay.
Yeah, but I want to point out before we go any further that Karen and I do not have any bunions.
No, we
make that clear.
And I enjoy shoes. Shoes are kind of my fetish.
Yeah, you're going to be more likely to get bunions than me because you wear those Louboutins.
It's a matter of time. And then maybe Bunion and I, Lover and I, can bond over bunions.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you never know.
Karen was in trouble recently. I want to talk about your notoriety here for a minute. You were charged with or accused of what? Explain it, Karen.
I was accused. Somebody tried to get an emergency injunction over me threatening them with a shoe, which was completely inaccurate on how it went down. But it is what it is.
The heel of a Louboutin stiletto,
which was a very nice shoe. It happens to be my favorite shoe, and I understand the shoe fetish thing. The bunion thing, not so much. Yeah. The shoe fetish, totally get it.
Yeah. So tell us about this guy you dated, Karen, that you found out into the relationship that he had a fetishes.
Listen, I have a lot of questions about this because this is, it brings up a couple of really interesting things. Is like, when do you tell somebody? Because I guess a lot of people are embarrassed when they have something that's a little
you don't tell somebody away, right?
Well, and I think that's, that issue even more generally is, when is the right time to share any type of fantasy? Particularly with a new partner,
right?
This is kind of what we're talking about. I mean, it's a type of fantasy play, fetish play, fantasy play. It's really kind of the same thing, and it's always a risk. Because you're always going to risk, the person you reveal that to saying that's disgusting and running away.
Karen stuck around.
I tried. I made a serious valiant effort because it was about the clothes for me. I was like, ooh, I get to go buy clothes? And you're going to give me a credit card and I can go and buy sexy clothes in leather?
See, there's a selling point.
That part was good. It was the other stuff that was a little too much for me.
So how did he reveal his fetish to you?
It was kind of a slow process, which was actually kind of nice. We had this, I thought it was about the shopping, and we just weren't on the same page, and I think that's the bottom line.
What kind of things were you shopping for?
Clothes.
What kind of clothes,
Leather
Karen?
pants. Things I would wear out anyway.
Now, did you know? I mean, but you didn't know why
you were shopping.
You were
I didn't know
buying
the
those kind of
extent
clothes.
of the fetish, I guess is a good way to put it.
But were there comments made as you were trying things on and putting things on?
Of course, which, that was cool. Yeah. And then it got to the level where I was no longer comfortable. It was sad because we had a lot in common. He was a really nice person. It just wasn't something that could continue because I was like, that's kind of
maybe not
a little much.
Did you get to keep? Did you get to keep the leather pants?
I did. I got a lot of really good clothes. It was a long time ago, though. I mean, I've been married for a while. I was actually married twice since then. So
you didn't break up with him. You didn't break up with him right away. You let the shopping continue for a while.
I did. I tried. I really did. I really liked him. He's a great guy.
Yeah, you know, the sex columnist Dan Savage always. I think he's the one that started GGG, right? Yeah. Good, giving, and game. Yeah. And if anybody thought about that in a relationship, just try and be good to each other. Be giving and be game to try something. Be open-minded, right?
Well,
consider. And
you considered.
To try that.
I consider a lot of things. There's some things I've tried that I didn't like, and some things that I do like.
That when the dominatrix thing comes in.
I'm more on the submissive side, I think. I think my husband would probably agree. But I do like leather.
I know.
So, it's about the clothes.
And you still like costumes, Karen. I've seen you
I love a costume.
On Instagram.
I love a good costume. A good, sexy costume, I'm all in.
Yeah. Well, now, is that important
to men?
Did you
ask about furries the other night?
We asked about furries.
Yeah. That's I think, taking costumes.
That's a little too far.
It's another level of commitment. If you're a My Little Pony and a 40-year-old adult.
We got in trouble with ponies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not like that kind of trouble. I don't think this is the right show for that, Becky.
It was in her backyard. She had these circus ponies, the kind that are like dyed pink and stuff. And we did a little live feed video with me and riding one and her riding the other one.
People didn't like that.
Brought on a lot of haters.
Yeah, and I already have some haters, so that just brought it to a whole new audience.
Those ponies looked small, but they were very strong.
Yes.
And their owners were right there. They were their pets. We didn't do anything wrong. They could hold up to like 350 pounds each.
Yeah, but and you want to know what? The owners were like, go right ahead. They were happy to have us there. So if they I feel like it's their pet. It's their responsibility.
They should have told us.
Hey, Delray Beach in particular, I remember years ago, passed a city ordinance preventing green dyed pigs for the St. Patrick's Day parade.
Gosh.
Doesn't really matter if the owner wants them or not.
That brings up like body painting. I like body painting. I think there's something very...
Now, that's okay.
I don't know if I can say that on the radio.
Right.
The ladies in Times Square, New York, have you seen that?
Oh, yes, yes.
I'm going to be there next week. I'm going to have to check that out. Yeah, I'm going to post some photos.
Especially the brave ones that are out all year round.
In the winter.
That's, also a commitment.
I've actually seen them.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so this fetishist, what did he want to do once he got you all dressed in leather?
Listen, I don't want to go into anything too graphic
it's
here.
A dinner hour.
Yeah, it's kind of, it was just kind of above my comfort zone. But, I get the whole, the being tied up thing. I think there's a lot of women who like the submissive side. I think for him, he was such a dominant person, and that's what I've read now, because of course I wanted to figure out why it didn't work, and I had to analyze the situation.
Even though you got the leather pants.
I got the leather pants. But I think people who are really dominant, like I'm really dominant, I kind of want my husband to, be a little bit, dominant with me.
Well, it's been said for a long time. The best way to learn about control and how to appreciate control is to give up control. And that's why very often
that would be very hard
you
for
see,
a
even
control freak, wouldn't it?
in like S&M and DNS type of situations, it's the submissive one that is in control.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Because they're the ones who really call the shots.
It's also why there are a lot of big CEOs that on their lunch break are going to go to a dominatrix and get a dog collar, be put in diapers and be dragged around. Because when they're so into it, or so used to being in
my comfort zone. Not saying that was it, but that's
look at the movie 50 Shades of Grey. How popular was that? People are interested in all this stuff.
That's totally my deal. Absolutely.
So you...
You know what's really sexy? Transgression is sexy.
Yeah. Okay, explain that.
Being naughty. the little bit of mystery, the little tying up, not knowing what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
Within reason.
Spicy. Within reason.
Within reason.
Well, you have to trust the person, I would imagine.
That's right.
I mean, you have to be. I mean, I'm not. We won't go into specifics, but I mean, I'm a pretty vanilla person. I guess is a good way to put it. Does that make sense?
Not after I introduced you.
But see, I think and again, this transgression thing. This is why sometimes having that gameness, being open to trying things, even if they seem way out of the realm of what you're used to. Even being a little nervous, having a little bit of that edge. That's kind of where eroticism really lives.
Ah.
So if you have that trust, you have that communication,
excitement.
You're trying something new, and it kind of raises the level of everything.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really good approach.
So-called vanilla people could learn a lot from kinky people.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I agree completely because I would have even thought about exploring anything beyond what was in my understanding until I met this person and they kind of shared this with me, and I was like, wow, like a whole different thing that I haven't even thought about, interesting.
Right. And people just kind of have to get over that initial what?
Yeah.
There was definitely an initial what?
And then you heard about the leather pants and you were
and then the clothes kind of took over.
There you go.
The year you're talking about, I think leather pants were the hottest thing,
Listen,
right?
I still
and they
love a leather pant.
You still have those pants?
I don't have those pants, but I have other replacement leather pants.
So that's an upside to trying new things with your partner. You can get stuff.
Right.
There you go. Exactly. You can get clothes.
Well, you should date a foot fetishist, then go get more of those shoes. Louboutins.
There you go.
Buying shoes for you would be like crack.
There you go.
Christmas every day.
Okay, I think we got to go here.
The music
Had
means.
a great time.
Thank you so
Sex
much.
Talk with the Siegel Brothers. Your show is on Monday nights.
Monday nights at 9 p.m.
And you're on the same network that I am.
Yep.
9 p.m. And your shows, like mine, stay on your Facebook page so they can be viewed at any time. So go take a look, because I was going back and watching some of theirs. Very interesting, guys.
And I hope we can do this again.
Yeah, I'm
we'll
going to
have you on our show.
Yeah, I'm going to come on your show.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Learn a lot.
I'll bring Karen with me.
All right.
Okay, see you next week.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Have a good night.